Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining on our webinar today for the Update Location Information feature. We're going to get started in just a second here, but while you wait, you should have received our presentation slides in a reminder email, but we did make some small adjustments to the slides. So if you would like to have the most up-to-date slides, you should have those available in the attachments section of your GoToWebinar control panel. So feel free to grab those while you're waiting. If you're not able to see those, please let me know to make sure that you guys have access to those. Some general things to kind of be reminded of every time you join our webinars. Everyone is on mute. So if you do have any questions, any comments, or would like us to go over some of the content one more time, you're welcome to pop that information into the questions box. I will be monitoring those questions and responding to everyone individually. And whenever I see a question that might be a good question to highlight for everyone to hear, I will announce that throughout the webinar. All right. And oh, and Obek, if you're sharing your screen, you might want to swap the displays. We're seeing the presentation or presenter mode.
Okay. All right. Let me do that then. Thanks for telling me.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Perfect.
Okay, that looks better, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Thanks everyone for coming today to the update location information walkthrough. We're going to be going through the slides and also going to go into the system a little bit so you can see how it works right within Exact. Like Rocio said, if you have questions, please feel free to put them into the questions box, and then we'll be able to answer them as they come up. Okay. All right, so today we're going to do an overview of the feature for update location information. We're going to show you how to configure it, send the emails, and then talk about some next steps of what to do once you get back the information from this process. So let's go ahead and get started with the overview. So if you're new to the Exact, or if you're new in general to this particular process, the update location information feature is one that allows you to send out an email to your sites prior to the March mailing to do a couple of things. So one of the things it does is it verifies that you have the correct information. It does this both by the sites being able to respond and also getting any sort of bounce back emails. You can also use this email as a way to notify the sites of any changes that you might have with the program with your program, or even to let them know that you're using Exact. And then kind of just talk a little bit about the Exact partnership if you want to give them some tips on how to use the system or what it looks like when they get the emails. This is a good way to kind of launch into that, and it also will show you if you have any problems. And then it also gets your the programs that you're working with accustomed to using the Exact system to give them to give you information. In this case, it's just updating site information, and location information. But they'll get a delegator link, and they'll get a kind of a feel for how it works. So this is what the email is going to look like for your sites. It's going to just kind of be basic, and it'll be a link that they can click that will take you directly into the system, or take the site directly into the system to make any sort of notes on the updates. And then what happens next when they click that link is it takes them to a landing page, and they can we'll show you how to put a message into this box. If you wanted to upload anything, those documents would show up here, and then they can click start. It'll take them to the next step, but the documents would show up in a viewer, so then they can either view them or click the cloud to download those documents. So anything you want to share with your sites, you'll be able to do that pretty easily with the with this process. The actual page where they can update location information shows them all of the different locations that you want them to be able to see, and the information that you have on that particular location. So you can see there's requirements, there's the the basic information about the address, the website, etc. any notes that you might have on that particular location, any housing and parking information. What the site staff will be able to do when they get this email is, when they get to this page, is put any notes of changes that they need to have made into this information to be updated box. So they could do like a bulleted list, they could add a link, they could do a numbered list, but they can just write anything they want into this box. It's completely free text. You can see that it has a pretty high character limit, so that, you know, if they do have a lot to say, they can certainly really go at it if they have a lot to say. If there are multiple locations that are associated with this particular person that's receiving the email, they're going to be able to see these as separate cards, and they'll be able to click on each of the cards to update any changes that they need. Changes are saved automatically throughout this process, and then they'll be able to click submit to give you those changes after they're done. So here's just an example of what it might look like if they were typing into that box. When they do click submit, what will happen is this little black box comes up and asks them if they're sure. If they click OK, it takes them to this thank you message. If they say cancel, it'll let them go back and to edit more. Okay, so any questions about that process so far for the site, what the site does see?
We do have one question, probably someone who's familiar with V3. They asked if it's possible for the site to attach documents.
And that is not yet possible. They'd have to actually reply to the email to attach any documents. So you might add that as an instruction to the email that says, hey, if you have any new documents to share with us, please reply to this email and attach it. But right now, no, they cannot attach documents. Unless they have a link, because there is a way to do a link, but no, not yet, not yet, but we're definitely working on that for the future. Any other questions at this point?
Nope, no questions.
All right, perfect. Okay. So again, the overview of what we're going to be doing, and what you're going to be doing if you do decide to use the feature, is what you're going to do the configuration. You'll select the recipients. This is much like what the slot request process does too. You'll select the recipients. You'll compose the email, and then you'll send it, and then you'll review any bounced emails, and then review any updates, and then you'll be able to use those updates to make sure that the March 1st mailing has correct information in it. You'll use both the bounced email report and any updates that your sites might provide to do that. Okay, so prior to sending out your March mailing, you're probably going to want to review who is going to receive this update site. I mean, both of these emails. So the update site information or update location information email and the March mailing, they use the same configuration of like, should the site receive, or should this person receive the slot request? Both that email, that configuration on the personnel works for both the slot request and the location information. So you're going to want to review your information to see who's going to be able to receive it. You want to make sure at least one recipient is listed for each clinical site and location, and then you can use some of our handy reports to review and then make any changes to those personnel. So one of the best reports for this, so we have a couple of different ones that will work to help you to update this information and make sure that there's at least somebody marked for each location. So one of those reports is through the sites reports and the location details report. This report actually will show you an overview of all your locations, and then there is a associated personnel column that will show you how many people or in some cases, if there are no people, we got some zeros here, to show you if there are people that are marked to receive it. there are quite a few columns on this report, so you're going to want to use the edit columns feature that we have here to bring it to the point where you can see, who's there. Any questions about that right now? And we can go in and take a look at it too. Just want to make sure that we do the overview of everything first.
Not seeing any questions, Beck.
Okay, cool. There's also a report called the Personnel Location Details Report. So that's under Sites and Reports, and then it's called the Personnel Location Details Report. This report will show you whether or not the person is marked to receive the slot request. Again, you can edit columns to have fewer columns to look at on the screen, and then you can also use the filter for certain answers. If you want to see who receives a slot request or does not receive the slot request, you can use the filter to do that. So some best practices for this, just because if you're doing it for the first time, it's probably good for you to know this. We recommend that you send out the update location information email in the second week of February. It's going to give you time to send it out and then also get it back, so that you have time to update any information your sites might provide you with between now and March 1st. Because we're looking at the end of the week right now, and there are a couple of things we want to make sure are working correctly before you send it out. We're not recommending people send it out until the 7th or the 8th, so sometime early next week, just in case you're thinking of sending it out today after this meeting. Let's go ahead and just make sure you wait until early next week, just to give us some time to test on a couple more things. All right, so configuring the update location information process. I'm just going to go through these really quick, and let me know if Rosie, if anybody raises their hand and says they want me to go slower, or if they want me to go directly into the system where I can show them the same thing we're looking at here. So if you want to go into the system right now, you can log into your exat and try to just walk through it with us. So you're going to go to Sites when you're in exat. Along the Sites top menu, you see this thing that says Emails. So you're going to select that Emails tab, and it'll take you to your email page. And if you haven't ever sent anything from here before, it'll be blank. Otherwise, you're going to click Set Up New Communication, and that will bring you to the point where you can actually basically add a new communication, which is going to be your update location information email. This one is already created, so you could, if you're going to go with one that already existed, you could use the pencil to do that. Otherwise, it's going to show you the ability to choose an add-on activity. The add-on activity that you're going to choose is the location update location information activity. Don't choose them both for this email, just choose one or the other. If you're not using the update location information feature, then you would just choose slot request. In this case, you're just going to choose the update location information feature. This is just kind of showing you what the overall things are happening on this page. So if you needed to edit already existing configuration, you'd use the pencil. If you're ready to go ahead and send or craft your recipients list, you're going to click on Send Emails. And then to see your email dashboard, you'll click this icon here. If it's grayed out, that means they haven't been sent yet, and there's nothing to see. But once you've sent the emails, you'll be able to click that dashboard and see everything that's been done so far. It looks grayed out, but in this case, it's not, just because of the display on my screen, I think. And then after you've sent the email, there is a response report. It won't be immediately showing your responses. It takes a little while, but this report will show any changes that have been given to you by your sites. So anybody who has responded to this email, you'll see a report of those changes here, and then you'll be able to use that report to update your system. Like I was saying before, these are not going to be visible until you actually send the email. That's why they're grayed out here. You can see this in this case that it says send email. It doesn't say that it's been sent. All right, so going back to that pencil, or if you're setting up a new communication, what happens is it does take you to this first page. This first step is pretty easy. You have to just give a title to the to this process, and this is an internal title. You don't have to share this with anybody. It's just update location information mailing 2022. So you can call it whatever you want, and then you're going to select this add-on activity request updated location information, and then you'll click the next button to take you to the next page where you'll be configuring your preferences for this. Okay. And this is pretty simple and straightforward. It's just going to give you a page that you can see here. So the request updated location information, these are already selected. They're grayed out because you can't choose whether or not they see this information. This is part of the process that they'll see. So they're going to be able to update and see their basic information, notes, requirements, and housing and parking information with any notes that are in that particular section. Right now, I think the school contacts is showing, but it's not going to be showing on Monday, right, Rocio?
Correct. They are working on removing that from your configuration.
Right. So this is currently it's showing right now, but the school contacts are not shown on in this process. They are part of the March 1st mailing process, but they're not part of this. The instructions and documents part though is shown, and you'll be able to use this to upload any documents or to give any instructions to your sites, and that's going to show up on that very first page for them. But this is what you probably see right now, and then you'll be able to edit this instructions whenever you're ready. Once you make those changes, you'll go ahead and click on the save, and it will take you to the next step. So yeah, I forgot about our animations. We have some good animations, and I keep on forgetting about them. So this very first part shows you, basically this is what is going to be included, what your sites can see. So that's something that they'll have. The instructions gives you a whole little box here where you can give them any instructions and then upload any documents that you want them to be able to upload. So feel free to use that to give them, especially if there's anything in particular you're looking for, or you want to tell them what to expect. So that's helpful to know about that. Oops, I just don't know what happened there. Sorry, guys. There we go. Is that right? Yes. Okay. And then the next thing would be sending the emails out. So in terms of what we've gone through so far, is there anything anybody has any questions about? Or does anybody want me to go directly into Exad to show you?
We did have one question that I think is good to highlight. Someone asked if it's possible to combine or send out the update location information email or link with their slot request.
I think the answer to that is no, but you can correct me if I'm wrong on that, Rocio.
Yeah, so I know that you are able to do that when you select your add-on activity, but the only problem with that is that if you're sending out your update location information email, let's say on February 14th or right on February 7th, it will automatically include your slot request link as well. So they'll get both.
Right.
And so if you are planning on sending the update location information email before March 1st, we would recommend you to not combine them and send them out separately. That way you don't accidentally send out that slot request email before March 1st.
Right. I mean, you can always come back in later if that list is the same and turn the slot request configuration on when you're ready to send out the second email. But yeah, they're going to get the ability to update their location information and also give you slots if you have that one other part enabled. Yeah, that's a very good question. All right, so we can go into the sending of the emails next if everybody's ready to proceed. All right. So sending the emails is what comes after you do that very easy configuration part. And what you'll do is that after you've clicked that save, it takes you back to this dashboard. The dashboard allows you to click on this next step, which is sending the emails. Once you click send emails, it's going to take you to your recipients list. This is the list of all the people who have been marked to receive the slot request. And you'll use this to basically decide, to send it out. There's a couple things you can still do on this list. So you can see here that in some cases, there's a pencil and there's nobody marked to receive the slot request. You can still use the pencil to add additional people to the list here. You can use this pencil to take people off if you needed to. And then one of the features that we've done to improve the process, I think if you did this last year, you know that you could only select 30 people per page. This year, you'll be able to select 75 people per page. Makes it a lot easier, especially for the programs here that have like lots of different, like a lot of different locations to select. The way that you'll go through the process will be you can either select all by clicking on this top box, and it will select everything on the page, so all 75, and then you'll click Save Changes, and then you'll go to the arrow to go to the next page and select all of those people that you want to. You can either go, you can select all by clicking on this top, or you can go down the list, and if there's people that you don't want to select, you can use that to do that. You can also use the filter that's here to filter for certain types of sites or active or inactive sites. So this funnel filter does allow you to filter for particular site tags, site location tags, or location tags, site tags, active or inactive sites, and a couple other things. So feel free to use that if you are using that, especially if you are using site tags.
And I do want to note that the system does save your changes even if you're searching or filtering. So let's say you filter for a specific location tag, you select your records, make sure to save those changes and then go ahead and move on to another filtering or unfiltering option. That way your selections are saved whenever you're kind of looking through your data that way.
Yeah, exactly. So you might be like shuffling your data around a bit, because you can use the different filters, and as long as you save the ones you select, you're okay.
And I also
yeah.
wanted just to note, there was a question that came through. I know that our screenshot shows 2 clinical instructors set to receive the notification. That is just our sample data that we set it up that way, and we just listed people to receive the mailing. So your data should not include clinical instructors if they're not set to receive that. Just our demo data just did that.
Right.
There.
Yeah, you're probably going to see SCCE here almost always, and never clinical instructor. That's a good point. Thanks, Rocio. Okay. All right. So once you go down this list, you're going to see sometimes that there's no recipient listed. This pencil will allow you to click this edit pencil, and then you'll see if there's anybody there that you can add. Basically, it will take you to a card that allows you to add particular staff, and you can go ahead and select those people to add those. This is only a temporary thing. It's not permanent. So if you do need to make a permanent change, you'll be able to do that too. But this is only if you're doing it for this particular send of the email. It updates it just for the sending process. So when you're filtering, always make sure to save your selections, like Rocio was saying, before removing the filter. So you'll filter for one thing, and then you might want to select all those, and then you want to probably filter for something else. So those filters are great for doing that, but make sure that you always save after you've done the selections through the filter, just because it will be frustrating for you if you have to go back and do that filter again. And then the next thing is actually sending it. So once you've done all your selection of all your recipients, you'll click the Save and Next. And then that takes you to this page where you'll be able to compose the email. If you get to this page and you look at this list and it says, oh, only 21 and 9, and you're like, well, I know that I had 27 in mind, you can go back to the previous page and continue to select recipients. But if you feel comfortable and this is good, you can click Compose Email, and that will take you to this next page. In general, we always recommend you send it to yourself first, so you can just send one to yourself by going into Override Recipient's email. However, once you've done that and you feel comfortable, you're going to see your whole recipients list here. You can uncheck people right here and now if you needed to. If you see some, like for instance, if you saw some duplicates or you had second thoughts on somebody, you can just uncheck them. Kind of a nice feature too that I'll do a little side note on here is that you have the ability to copy the recipient email addresses just by clicking on copy there. Then you can paste it into some other email that's outside of Exat if you wanted to. So it's kind of like another note of something you could do. Once you're happy with this here, you obviously can click next. One other thing I'll point out on this page is if you have a attachment that you want to include with the email. So this is not the landing page one. This is the one that would just be in the email where they could open it up before they even click the link. You can upload those documents here, however many you want. And then obviously you can use the CC or BCC if you wanted to do that, but probably not recommended for something that's high volume like this.
And as we talk about sending out emails, if your SCCEs or personnel are associated with multiple locations, they will receive just the one email. The only instance where they would receive multiple emails is if they are associated with more than one site. That's where they'll get a second email.
Right, exactly. I've also, I think if some people, if your data isn't 100% clean in this way, so if you have like maybe you've got a the same person that's in the system more than one time, maybe with a different name or email address, just make sure you look out for those too. We found a couple yesterday where there was one instance of the person without their credentials and as part of their name and one with it. So just kind of keep an eye on that. Oops, what happened? Sorry guys, I just lost my screen here. There we go. So just keep that in mind, and just in case. But most of the time, it's going to just show you your list, and you'll see it, and it'll be fine. Okay. So back to this page. So this is the compose email page. You're going to see it's going to bring you to one particular standard template. You can select a different template if you already have one set up. If you don't have an update location information template set up yet, you can go ahead and add that template and basically just type in and into that to create your template. One thing you're going to make sure that you do, of course, is make sure that you include the request link. So right now we are in the process of at least having these emails ready for you to do, but if it's not there for you, you can just basically use this template that we've given you here. So our program's updating information, and then you can use this at request link to give the sites the link that will take them to Exat to do the update. And then this is just a nice kind of a easy example of an email. So basically that just tells them what to expect when they get to that landing page. If you want to use this, you can use this, or you can use something else that you want to say, but make sure that if you're asking your sites to update the information within Exat, that this at request link is part of the email. It's pretty easy if you've done the email process before. As soon as you type the ampersand key, it will give you the list of tags that you can select from, and it will you can just select that tag. Okay. after you have selected the email and click the next button, it takes you to this page where you can preview the email that you have. You can see here that we've got this request link. Make sure it has that for sure. And then you have two options. Either send it immediately, but don't, obviously, if you're doing this right now, unless you're going to send it to yourself, don't send it because we would like you to wait till next week. And then the other thing you could do is you could send the email at a specific date and time, so you would be able to schedule that for a future date. Once you do click on this option, it's going to give you the ability to select the date and time. And the time zone is going to be set to your program's location. So just so you know, that's the time zone that it's going off of. And then you'll just go ahead and select the day and time to do that. This is going to use that same sort of clock that you see when you're setting up your session activities for when something is due. It's you'll select you'll click to select the date, and then you'll see a clock that shows you the exact time that you want it to go out. And that's when the email will be sent. Okay, so some next steps. We are obviously here to help you if you need help with the process. And I don't know if you've probably heard that we're setting up meetings, so make sure that you do that too. So once you've sent out the emails from Exat, you're going to want to see what the results were. So if you're in the email section, remember that dashboard that we were looking at, there's the thing that looks like a bar graph. That bar graph icon takes you to this page, which shows you the email status, basically. So you'll see everybody who was sent the email, all the associated locations for that place, the subject of the email, so we know this is the update location information request, and then when it was sent, and then the status. So the status is showing you whether or not the link was clicked, or if the email itself was just even opened. And if it was bounced, it will also say it was bounced. So you'll have a really easy report to be able to see, what problems might have occurred. The bounced emails are going to come up as failed emails, so that means that they didn't work. Successful means that it was received in some way. And then you can also see this nice information about delivered but not opened, and link was not clicked, and then the link was clicked. So that link is that request link where they can go in and update their information. So this dashboard kind of gives you a nice bird's eye view of the kind of the status of the email and how it worked out. So when you're going to be reviewing it, you're going to click here to see what the email, to view the email that was sent. So you can actually read the email just in case you want to see what it looked like. It's helpful to see that. And then that's what it looks like. It's going to open up into a new little card. And you can even copy, and paste, come on back, this link to see what your sites would have seen if they clicked on the link, if you're interested to see what they saw. And then what's going to come after that is the response report. So the response report will be downloadable with that little icon that we looked at with the arrow. And that is going to be obviously after you sent it and after your sites start updating it. And you'll be able to download that report to see what they've changed. And obviously you can see this update location response is showing, what they said. If they said no response, that means they didn't have any changes. And then every now and then you can see, there's any changes that got made by your sites. Okay, so our internal next steps, resources that we have available for you. We are trying to set up calls with all of our programs that are working in V4. Those calls will be one-on-one calls with an Exat team member. If you haven't received the email from your Exat team member yet, you will soon. I know that most of us have sent our emails out to each of our programs that we're working with. and try to set up those days and times. If you're not doing the slot request or the update site information email yet, you probably won't get an email from us because we're only setting up those calls to set it up for people who are using the slot request in Exact this year. Also keep an eye out for our Thursday tips. Those are coming out every Thursday, and they're just helpful tips for the March mailing. We send them out on Thursdays because we have a Tuesday tip also that's just more generalized. The Thursday tip is only about the March mailing, and after the March mailing is done, you'll stop getting those. We also have 2 upcoming webinars. One is the slot request walkthrough. It'll be a lot like the one we just did now. We'll just walk you through how it works and answer any questions that you might have as we're going through that. And then we have one after March 1st, which will tell you, which will help you work through the slots that you were offered. So kind of working through how to manage those slots. That's the kind of the post March 1st webinar that we have. So I'm going to have a few more minutes that we can ask, well, more than a few minutes that we can ask questions, or if I can go into Exact and show you stuff, if that would be, if you'd like to see that. So gonna just sort of open up.
Yeah, and I also wanted to add in, while you guys think about anything you might want to ask us, Beck, if you don't mind hitting your next key. Our Thursday tips were previously sent out, just letting you guys know. Oh, actually, go back a slide. Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, our Thursday tips were sent out, and the image you're seeing on the back was what you received initially. And I know that there was no indication about which version you were looking at. It wasn't really easy to tell. I did make sure and try to vet all of the emails that we sent this out to make sure it was only for V4 users. But we did update that image to the image that you see on top of that layered over. It does label it as version 4, and we are also adding version 4 to the subject line, so you guys are able to know that it is indeed intended for you, the content that we're sending. We actually just sent one earlier during this webinar, so you should have that available in your inbox. So those will be coming to you every Thursday, so look out for those. If you know of any of your team members that are not receiving that, or if you're not seeing that in your inbox, please let me know. I will go ahead and type in my email address in the chat box, just so that you guys can contact me if anyone you know is not receiving these and should be.
Sounds good. I see a hand raised. I think maybe I did, maybe I don't.
Yeah, I do. I think it's Amy.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and unmute her.
Okay, Amy. Cool.
Go ahead, Amy.
Hi, thank you again for doing this. This is really incredibly helpful.
Awesome.
I just obviously, as you know, Rocio, this is my first time ever in a DCE, and it's a developing program. So I was just wondering, with this version 4, are there videos that I can like study to go over and over? This is my first time using Exact. I'm getting very nervous, obviously, as March 1st is appearing. Do you have, I don't know, just pre-made videos where I can just kind of go over and over and over again just to really absorb this versus just these, obviously webinars?
At this time, we do not. As you know, some of these features are getting released. A lot of these features that we're covering with you today got released, I believe, over the weekend. So it's very difficult for us to make videos when they're still being developed, but that is on my to-do list to get those created. As we send out Thursday tips, some of the content will be more relevant, so I am working on creating resources targeted on the items that we talked to you about. So those will be coming in the next coming days. That is on my to-do list for you guys to have available, for sure.
And then this has been recorded as well, Amy, so you can always come back to the video from this webinar. I know it's kind of longer than maybe a video you'd want to watch, but we're also, I don't know if you've heard from your CSS yet, but they'll be sending you an email to set up a time to walk through the whole process with you. So everybody that's in version 4 will be working one-on-one with an exact team member to help you set up the process this year, so you don't have to feel like you're in the dark, because you're not. We'll definitely take you through it each step of the way. The webinar is really just to sort of give you a heads up of how it's going to work, but everybody is going to get the opportunity, and honestly, we'll be making sure that you set up this both of these if you're using both of them with us directly, so you don't feel lost, hopefully.
Thank you.
Sure, no problem. Are there any other questions? Does anybody want to see anything in particular in Exat? Or do you want your time back? That's you can also do that.
I did see, oh no, that was a leftover hand raise. I don't see any additional questions.
Okay.
So.
I mean, I think given that we're meeting with you all, probably don't need to go into the system to show it to you, since we'll be able to do it with your actual data and not just with our fake data. But I really appreciate you taking the time to come to this call today, because I think you'll be a little more prepared for when we do meet, and you know, hopefully you're not feeling quite as nervous if you were feeling nervous before. So, all right. Well, if there are no questions, we'll go ahead and close the call out a little bit early. You'll have a few minutes left back on your day, and we will see you all on our one-on-one calls.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone.